think like 100 feet per second isn't a big deal, but it's a big deal.
So we had such a good day yesterday, hunting chuck in the afternoon with the 30 cal impact, topped off with the Element Theos. Got some really crisp scope cam footage, got quite a few down, and then moving out late at night with the thermal and getting some raccoons down. So really good day. We're back on the chucks today. We're making a few minor changes to the gun. We're adding a couple of these MDT weights to the Saber Tactical Arcarel at the bottom. It's got M-lock slots on the side, which means we can add these weights. And the reason we're doing that is just with all this push from the, I don't want to call it recoil, but it's like a slow push that you get from these big calibers. You don't get awesome scope cam footage, or it's not as good as it can be. So we're going to add some weight to just keep it a little bit still, especially when we're zooming in, and hopefully that allows it to stay nice and still when that shot goes off. But yeah, nice to have all these fancy accessories. It allows us to experiment with new things, and let's see how it turns out. With all of our tweaks and adjustments made, we hop into the notorious Simmons creeper van and prepare to hit the road. It's another picture-perfect summer's day today, and as much as we'd like to be out in the sun, we decide to remain in the van so as not to scare the chucks away. These animals are very used to seeing vehicles driving around the farm, and as long as we stay hidden, we should get our chances. Good shot. So first chuck down for the day, sitting up really nicely. GoPro battery died as we were about to take the shot, so we had to try and scramble to get it replaced. Should have actually checked that before we left, but thankfully we had some replacement batteries and we could take the second shot and, well, first shot and get it down. I spot another chuck just peeking out of vegetation about 100 yards away and try to set up for a shot. Okay, I'm going to try shift a little bit to the left.
Yeah.
You want to know why we shoot these little buggers? This is why. He's just munching away at this alfalfa or lucerne, whatever it is, and I try my best to get into a position where I can avoid this pole, but alas, I'll have to just let this one live for another day.
He's looking straight at you.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's not. Now he's running. Now he's gone right behind the pole once again.
He could sense Matt's trigger finger.
Oh yeah.
And was getting the heck out of town.
This is another advantage of shooting out of the van. I get a great elevated position with a 360-degree view from up top, and it's not long before I get an absolute sitter.
Ooh.
And I miss him. So what on earth happened here? Well, we couldn't feel any wind from where we were sitting, but just watch the mirage pushing left to right. This slug gets pushed off course and just nicks the nose of this chuck. It's a little bit quiet for a while as we just can't seem to spot anything, and while we wait for something to show up, I tell Thayne to get his 35 cal ready.
If you guys see one, tell me.
Are you ready, Thayne?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'd achieved my goal the previous day of testing the 30 cal javelins, and I was very curious to see what the 68 grain hybrids could do. And I'll say this, I wasn't disappointed. These things are absolute hammers on small game.
Headshot.
That's a good hit.
Headshot. 35 cal.
That was a 35?
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta go retrieve him.
Yeah, we gotta see what happened to him.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was good. We'll download that video.
Look at that. Oh. Boom.
Right
That's
behind
a
the eye.
lot of concussion. Look at that.
Yeah, it's right
Look
behind the
look how it throws his mouth open. See
Yeah.
that? Boom. Look at the shockwave that goes through his body.
Yeah.
See that?
We'll
Boom.
have to see what it did to his head.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That was crazy talk.
Another one pops up in exactly the same spot, and I get to experience the 35 caliber magic.
Good shot.
Great shot, dude. Great.
We've had some good luck yesterday with the 30 cal. Today we're having some fun with the 35 with hybrids. Man, they just parachute out and just knock these things down so hard. Probably a really good slug for this kind of shooting. It doesn't quite necessarily have the penetration for hunting bigger animals, but for stuff this size, just opens up straight away, just dumps all its energy. It's exactly what you want. So yeah, what distance was that?
80 yards.
80 yards, straight down. Super happy. Now the 35 cal is an interesting one because the hybrids are very light for caliber at 68 grains. That's actually lighter than a pellet. The result of this is that the hybrids have a lower ballistic coefficient than the 30 cal, and for this reason I probably prefer the heavier 30 for anything at long range. But you can't deny the awesome terminal performance and accuracy on display here.
So there's a chuck right here. I'll grab him. Hey, friend. Oh, they're on top of each other. This one's right here. And that one's right there. Two for two, 80 yards. I shot the first one headshot, Matt shot the second one headshot. 35 cal hybrid slugs, going over 1,000 feet per second. Devastating. Yeah.
Yeah, those things got slammed. Look at that.
Oh man.
Look at this one.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, look at that exit wound right there. Look at all that skin just pulled off of there. Just ripped through him.
We spot another chuck and decide to switch it up again and give the 22 cal a go. This is a 31 grain slug at 1100 feet per second. You can hear in this clip that it's almost at the speed of sound, and although terminal energy is way lower than the bigger calibers, it does the job with a little laser beam straight through the head. We make our way towards another spot to see if we could find more chucks, but on the way we couldn't help popping in at one or two local gems to get the full Utah experience.
Ooh. Shrimp steak burger sandwich. Really good.
Very good. We pull in at a dairy farm, which we actually visited last time I was here with great success. But before we see any chucks, we get an opportunity on a pigeon and decide to take it out with the 22. Next we've got to do the 35 on the pigeons.
Yes. Yes.
We turn our attention towards an old junk pile, a little over 100 yards away, with sort of structure that you'd expect to find chucks in.
He looks huge.
That's one thing that comes with experience. The ability to think like the animal you're hunting
Oh, he's fat.
and sort of predict what they're going to do.
He's going down.
Thayne and Val give a few whistles, and sure enough, a fairy figure emerges. Again though, the wind catches us by surprise here and pushes the slug way off. We wait it out, and sure enough, he pops out again. Hold for a bit of wind this time, and the slug lands right on his shoulder. He manages to make it down the hole, but with a 68 grain parachute in his body, he won't go far. We pull up next to a canal and set up overlooking a pile of rocks about 150 yards away. This is the perfect ecosystem for chucks. Water, crops, and plenty of places to hide. But you can't hide forever, and we spot a big one standing up outside his hole at exactly 150 yards.
It's blowing right at us. So it'll push it a little bit left to right.
So push it to the right a little bit.
The 30 cal comes out again so we can try beat the wind with a higher BC, and I drop him on the spot. I put in a second shot just to be safe, and it's straight through the head once again.
Real quick.
The blood was just gushing out of his head thing.
Yes. I just wanted it for the video.
Guys, 150 yards, smoked him
Right in the head.
right in the head,
Perfect.
didn't even move an inch. 5 mils elevation. I've ranged 148 yards, so
I did 151, yeah.
yeah. Perfect. Super happy with that.
The slow-mo of the second shot was just insane. I don't think I've ever seen a red mist like this before from any airgun, and it's a testament to the expansion of these 30 cal javelins. Another chuck pops up in about the same place, but we struggle to get an accurate range since he's just over the horizon. I forget to dial for the first shot, so it lands way low, and then I proceed to miss right over the top of him a few times, thinking he's a little bit further than the first one.
He's a real fatty.
Pushing slightly right.
Just over him, I think.
You can see how excruciatingly close this was to being another perfect headshot. But there's nothing quite like hindsight.
Got slammed.
Like a war zone.
Well, this was quite a special shot. Long way off. I don't know if you can see the truck behind me, but that's 150 yards. So what's that, 140 something meters or 130 something meters. Aim for the head, pull the trigger, watch the slug curl all the way in and slammed him right in the head. Took a follow-up shot just to make sure. Follow-up shot also went through the head. Yeah, really cool to look at the slow-mo footage. But yeah, this one's a bit of a monster. By far the biggest one we've shot so far. It's nice to see the different color variations on them as well. They're so similar to dassies in terms of just the areas where they live and the way you hunt them, that it kind of feels a little bit like home. And I'll definitely have to take Thayne and Val on some sort of dassie hunt if they come to South Africa in the future. I think they'll enjoy it. But yeah, nice to get this monster down, and I hope you enjoy the awesome slow-mo footage through the Theos.
We decide to change strategy a bit, and we make our way on foot towards what almost looks like an empty dam. The ridge of the dam was peppered with chuck holes, so we knew we'd get an opportunity sooner or later.
So we've had some good success earlier today shooting out of the van, but it's a little bit claustrophobic in there. We've decided to change strategy a bit. We've come into a little valley that's kind of surrounded by earthy mounds and rocks and stuff, where there's quite a lot of chuck activity, and we've set up in the middle on a tripod where we can rotate around, and hopefully we'll get a few opportunities. It's nice to be out, although we're probably getting a little bit roasted, but let's see what we can do.
We keep an eye on the rock structures, and if this area looks familiar, that's because we did actually come here back in 2018 and managed to smash a chuck in this exact heap of rocks. We're hoping for a repeat of that today, and we eventually get an opportunity as a head pops out. It sounded like a hit, but the slow-mo shows the slug making contact with the rock right above his head. I keep forgetting that with an 18-yard zero, I need to hold under for some of these shots, and I have to just let this one go. We hit the road once again, this time heading north. We will be hunting plenty more chucks later in this video, so stay tuned, but we have one thing on our agenda that we simply have to tick off first as we cross from Utah into neighboring Idaho and head towards a little town called Preston. Preston may seem like such an insignificant little place on the map, but Nicole and I happen to be big fans of Napoleon Dynamite, and when we heard how close we were to the film locations, we simply had to make a plan to visit.
It's a sledgehammer.
Dang! You got shocks, pegs. Lucky. You ever take it off any sweet jumps?
Ever seen the movie Napoleon Dynamite? Well, that's Pedro's house.
We found Napoleon's house too, and at first it was super awkward pulling up to a random person's house and asking if we can take pictures, but as it turns out, they get this all the time, and even let us sit on their porch for a bit. And this right here is the field where that old farmer dude shot the cow in front of the school bus.
Nothing on there works smooth.
Satisfied with our pilgrimage to Preston, we head south again towards Utah and pop in at one last chuck spot, hoping to find a few more. And boy, did we find some. Do yourself a favor and try count all the chucks you see in this clip. I counted 12, and we knew that there were probably way more just beneath these rocks. A target-rich environment if ever I saw one.
We spotted a few chucks up here in this rock pile. So actually I saw one, and then two, then three, then four, then five, then six. There's a whole big colony of chucks on top of this pile, about 228 yards. So we're going to set up on them and see if we can't take a few out. Because the scope.
Yep, you heard that correctly, 228 yards. Not going to be easy, and we did also have some wind. But we were up for the challenge, and we knew that we'd get plenty of shots from our hidden position with silenced air guns. They probably wouldn't even know that we were shooting at them.
Thayne,
Yeah.
do you see the one that you were looking at that is standing up just below that? There's two.
Yeah.
Let's
go for
both
those.
go for those. I'll go for the one on the right.
I'll go for the one, I'll go in the center.
Ooh. Got one.
I'm gonna check. You should be able to see right there.
Oh, I absolutely smashed him.
Oh,
I'm
you
holding
did?
a mil low now because these ones are closer.
Oh, so we're going over
They're
them.
quite a bit closer, so
It's a seed in that rock pile.
yeah. Yes.
We learned very quickly that while the rock pile seemed very two-dimensional through the scope, it actually stretched pretty far back, so that 228 yards that we ranged earlier was not going to help us much. We would have to range each rock and either hold or dialed according to the change in distance. I'm dialed for 228 here, but hold quite a bit under for the closer shot, and the slug lands exactly where I want it.
Oh, we both got him. I think we both got him.
This was the craziest clip ever. We both go for the same chuck and take a shot at the same time. Thayne's 22 cal slug lands slightly low and sort of bounces into the chuck, and a moment later my big old 30 cal slug lands right in the neck and stones him right where he stands. Here's the exact same shot filmed through Thayne's scope for a different perspective.
Accurately. Got him.
Oof, did.
Dropped him.
Here's another 30 cal to the neck, and it never gets old watching these chunks of lead seemingly fall from the sky like artillery.
3, 2, 1. Oof, do you see that hole up here as he moved?
This one was very lucky to escape with his life. A split second longer and he would have been nailed.
This is crazy.
What's it doing?
This one also moves at the last moment, but he doesn't quite get away in time, and that slug lands right between the shoulder blades. Thayne brings out the 35 cal, and one interesting thing I noticed here is just how little recoil there is compared to the 30. The slug is heavier and moving a little bit faster, so in theory there should be more recoil, but I think with Thayne's double bottle adapter on the 35 and all that extra weight that it adds, there's just a little bit more inertia and therefore less movement when he takes the shot. And here's the same shot through the perspective of my scope. There's that big old 35 cal slug coming in hot, and boom.
Hit him.
He's done. We go for another double here. I don't hold enough for the wind, but Thayne manages to plant the 35 right in the shoulder once again. Oh my word, that was close. Please give me another shot. It's sometimes sort of counterintuitive to hold low, and I don't hold enough for this one. Once again, so close.
Okay.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you wrap up an action-packed day of varminting. I don't think I've ever seen such an active pile of rocks before, and we didn't even scrape the surface, so there'll be plenty more for next time when we come out here again. Nicole and I now have to catch a flight back home though, and after 3 weeks in the US, we found ourselves trading the foreign for the familiar as we board our flight across the Atlantic and reflect on what has been a real adventure. Sometimes it's hard to appreciate something until it's over, and the long journey home gave me plenty of time to think about everything I'd experienced on this trip. You may call it once in a lifetime, but one thing's for sure, I will be back, and there's no shortage of ideas in my mind of what to do next time. Well, there you go, guys. Our adventure in the US comes to an end as we arrive back in a rather chilly South Africa. It's winter over here, but I hope you really enjoyed the series, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.